I like my fish and boy. I'm a big boy. Let me stand me, pick the collar, extra large, lily koi. Squid and chicken luau. Don't forget the low low. It's breakfast with Bob. Oh, yeah.
And Poncho Man. Thank you, Poncho. My name is Bob Babbitt. This is a day 4 of Breakfast with Bob, 2016 edition. We are brought to you by EAS Sports Nutrition, by Hoka One One, by Polar, Oscar Wellness, Velo Fix, Four Seasons Hualalai, and we are airing on triathlonworld.com. The premier coach in the sport of triathlon. He is coaching Tim Reed, Kevin Collington, Sarah Piampiano, Jesse Thomas, more important, Mohammed Lana,
Mohammed, Mighty Mo.
Mighty Mo. How you doing, Matt Dixon? How you doing?
Very well. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me here.
How are things in Purple Patch world?
Busy, but very good. Yeah,
I love
very
that.
good. Enjoyable.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Now, we've interviewed a bunch of your folks, so we'll go through them one by one.
Sure.
Jesse Thomas has had, I don't think he's lost an Ironman. Every time he goes to one, he wins it. First time here.
Yep.
He won in Wales. He won in Lanzarote. He likes hard courses. Wildflower. Mm-hmm. This course suit him?
I think the terrain and the occasion suits him.
Yes.
He loves racing. He's a very smart racer, and I wouldn't say the heat suits him.
Right.
He's not used to that, and I think that, if you come in at 100%, it is the expectation of the coach that you retain that level. So anything else outside of a championship would be a bit of disappointment. But joking aside, no, I think that Jesse's here really as a as pressure-free as you could be.
Yes.
Really come in and have a fantastic time, a learning experience. He's been here for a few years watching.
Right.
So he understands the dynamics of the race, at least from the outside. Now he gets to go and have some fun on the inside. So I'd like him to go and be safe, smart, and see what the body can do. It's a very personal performance for him, I would say.
So with your pro athletes that you work with, do you recommend before they do this race, they come over and watch it?
If the opportunity arises, and it's wonderful, in Jesse's case, he had sponsorship commitments, so you can dovetail it. But if you're going to be here, don't just go off and go to your party the night before the race.
Not that there's anything wrong with
that, and I think he attended every year. But really, come and immerse yourself in the environment and stand on the sidelines. And at the time, the first year he was here, it was questionable whether he would ever step up to this distance.
Yes.
And I felt like he was ready last year. And in fact, going into Wales, I think I informed him he was going to do an Ironman about 4 or 5 weeks before Wales. We didn't train for it at all. We trained for the World Championships in half Ironman, Ironman 70.3. And so we treated it like a long training day, and very similar. We sort of incrementally stepped up for Lanzarote, and obviously he had a great performance there. This is the first Ironman that he's truly prepared for. And so I think his lens can be one of, wow, I want to see what I can get out of my body.
Sure.
Rather than having an outcome focus of, first, second, 10th, whatever it might be. It's like, go and have a great personal performance and see what you can yield over your day. So obviously, coming back to your question, spectating can only help that.
Yes.
Because you get to understand the race a little bit.
So Tim Reed, who, it's funny, I see him potentially being on the podium. This guy has so much talent. He just came off of winning 70.3 Worlds. In his mind, not that he doesn't believe that, but verbally he won't say that. All right, he's got the body and the ability on all three that one day he can win this race.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tim's a great Ironman 70.3 world champion because he's a story of development. He's incrementally improved. He's a very, very smart guy. He's an independent thinker. And so as a coach, I'm incredibly proud of him for what he's achieved this year. And he obviously did very well at Ironman Australia and broke the course record there. So he's already had a great year.
Yep.
I think the challenge for anyone that's gone through something like that, when you have something so emotional, in where he had to go so deep for the key race only 5 weeks ago, and then the euphoria that comes after it, there's an unquestionable challenge to come down, manage, reset yourself, and then be able to go that deep again.
Right.
And so almost after that, there would have been no no negativity. They said, I'm done. I'm really happy. I'm Ironman 70.3 world champion. I'm going to save it. And we had a chat about that. And my challenge to him, my advice was, come, immerse yourself. You have no pressure. Go and do a really good performance that you can be proud of. See where you fall out for the future. And so I think that it's, as with this race, it's for any athlete, I think Tim's prerogative is to, again, make it very personal and say, I just want to do my best performance and let's see where that yields. And yes, look, in the future, he might be one of those athletes that is Hawaii ready and can come here with extreme focus around championships. But I think on Saturday, he can go and have a little bit of fun and really enjoy racing without the shackles of expectation. He's already been successful.
He's had a great season.
He's already had a great season, so he's been successful.
So we know less about Kevin Cullington, right? This is his first time, and he's coming on the show tomorrow. And a lot of pros would be like, they want to come on Monday, and he's like, oh, Friday's fine with me. So take me through Kevin. What makes Kevin special?
He's, Kevin the Knight. That's what I call him. Kevin the Knight. But Kevin's a wonderful athlete, and when I started coaching him a couple of years ago, he came to me and was, I think, a great runner, and I think relative to the demands of what this sport now takes to be at the world class level, and at the time it was all 70.3 racing for him, and his bike ride was nowhere near what it needed to be to stay up with the front group, but then also run off the bike. So it's been a 2-year project for him to get here, I think. And now he arrives where he's a front pack swimmer. He's strong and resilient on the bike, and he has a very quiet, very effective run. And I wouldn't, because he is unassuming, because he's quiet and a very nice guy. He's also an assassin. And he's an assassin with a smile. And I think that I would rather not talk about Kevin because I'm glad that no one else is talking about Kevin. And so it's actually, for me as a coach, it's a really unique state that I have 3 guys that I really respect individually as people and as athletes. But none of them have the shackles of expectation in this race. And it's very rare that you can sort of coach 3 world-class professional Ironman athletes at the World Championships that arrive at this race without massive expectation. Right. And so that gives us license to really enjoy the occasion and go and race. And obviously race. They're gonna go deep. But it's a little bit liberating for the whole team, I think.
How many athletes are you coaching now between age group, pro?
Well, it's a
Purple Patch.
A Purple Patch is an organisation. So it's a busy week. We've got over 30 athletes here. I think it's 32. So we've got 28 age groupers here.
Yes.
And then the 4 pros with Sarah Piano being the 4th, obviously.
And so with Sarah, we just had Sarah on the other day.
Yeah.
And top 10 last year was 7th.
7th. Yeah.
And like you said earlier, most of us weren't talking about her before the race, but you knew that she was ready for a good one.
Yeah, and I did, and I felt like she's been through many years in development, and the one thing about Sarah that I think she's getting known for, she's relentless.
Yes.
And she is relentless in pursuit, and will wear that with honesty. She will tell everyone her goals, and she'll go after it. And so one of the things that I had to do as a coach last year. She said to me 2 weeks out of the race, I think I might be able to go top 10. And I said, never say that to me again. Because as soon as you become outcome focused, you start thinking about others. And so last year was a real test of patience for her.
Yes.
And execution of a race plan. And so I think for her this year, now that she's got 7th, she's very smart as well. And she realizes that while she got 7th at the World Championships, it doesn't mean you're the 7th best athlete in the world.
Right.
And as she arrives back this year, there are 20 other women who feel like they could be top 10 and up in that 5th, 6th, 7th place or higher. And so I think for her coming back from that great performance last year, where she did execute her race plan and she did achieve what I felt was possible for her, her mission this year is to come back and on a personal level go and do a better performance than last year.
No matter what the
no
place
matter
is.
what happens, your own personal performance wants to be better than last year, and if you can achieve that, the chips fall where they fall. And if there are 7 girls that are ahead of you, it might still be, you can still be really satisfied. If it means that you're up in the top 3 or the top 5, well, good on you,
Right.
you know, and we go from there.
So one of my favorite guys, and we mentioned him a little earlier, from Challenge Athletes Foundation, Mohamed Lana. And for folks who have not seen Mohamed has a congenital birth defect that basically one leg grew and the other didn't.
Yep.
And I loved him telling me that when, as a little boy, basically they'd go to the shoe store and they'd keep building the heel on the smaller leg on that one shoe. And he said, I have a little piece of green foam, blue foam, pink foam, and finally got to the point where it was like, okay, we better do something else.
It's a step ladder.
He's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right?
Yeah.
Working with a challenged athlete, what were the challenges for you?
Well, interestingly, when we started, and Mohamed is, I mean, firstly, he's a wonderful human being.
Yes.
There is and the outcome, starting at the end of it, when he got his bronze at the Paralympics, it was 1 week after Tim had won the World Championship. So it was this 7 days of some of the most special coaching experiences that I've ever had, and I think I was equally as proud of Mohamed as I was of Tim.
Yes.
And we started our project about 18 months ago, and the Paralympic triathlon is a sprint, and Mohamed is an incredibly hard worker who brings Meredith Kessler-like grit and gumption to everything he does.
Yes.
And so he'd done the Hawaii Ironman, he'd done Norseman.
More Marathon des Sables across the Sahara.
These absolutely crazy events. And then he said, I want to go and compete at the Paralympics in a sprint triathlon. And in his category, because there's only so many categories they have, his disadvantage was much, much greater than the guys he was racing against.
He's racing against arm amputees, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And,
yes.
And so it was a real project. And the first thing I did with Mohamed is actually treat him like any other athlete.
Right.
And in fact, I was probably harsher on him than anyone else I've ever coached in my life.
And he liked that.
And I threw him in with my pro squad in San Francisco. He trained with my pro women's team in San Francisco. Responded really well. And the big thing for him was fitness was never going to be a limiter for you with the events that he's done. And now he's doing this sort of 1 hour sprint event. We have to, if we're going to be successful, we have to go to the details. We have to go to the skills. So how do you, for example, it's very difficult for him to do a U-turn on the bike.
That's true.
Because
and there's a lot of turns in these races.
Truly strapped in, and there's a lot of turns. So we need to absolutely make those turns seamless. And transition becomes critically important. And his transition takes longer than the other guys.
Yes.
And so I had to, I think, teach Mohamed more about the art of racing and the details than anything else. But so far as the actual training protocols, the biggest challenge was much less about being an adaptive athlete and more about teaching him the value of going easy on the easy days.
Yes.
Not just bringing toughness, but bringing this sort of art and freshness. And I think my best story of Mohamed that really got him the bronze medal, because a month before he was 8th at the World Championships,
yes.
6th or 8th, and a long way away from the medals, and he's a month before the Olympics. But the one thing that for a year and a half I tried to teach him was, when you take out your swim, your perception of effort only needs to be 80%, but your speed will be close to max. And he couldn't get it. He'd just go out hard, 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 hard. And he never got it. He never got it. And the one day he decides to try it is the Olympics. And that was the thing. He swam front pack and he got the bronze medal.
Well, and what happened that day is Mark Barr is an arm amputee who I don't think Mohamed has ever beaten. And there was also a little surf coming in. You started on a pontoon and you swam in and you had a little surf, and Mark got tumbled in the surf, right? And Mohamed's very good in the surf.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mark's liner came on. I mean, so Mohamed won that race with those transitions and with the tactical skills that he gained through the training with you.
Yes, it was huge. And for us as a community in San Francisco, we have a really thriving age group and pro sort of community. It lifted the whole program. I mean, I think that it's one of the biggest things that's ever happened for Purple Patch. And and you're ranking against Lieto getting second here, Tim Reed. It was just this incredibly powerful thing. And, he came back and I said, not bad, now let's get back to work. What's next?
Well, and he won by 14 seconds.
Yeah.
So when you win by that really was transition. That really was exiting the surf. All the little things paid off. And I've seen a lot of smiles in my life, but the smile on Mohammed in Rio when he got that Paralympic bronze, that was pretty cool.
It was electric, yeah. It was fantastic.
So how do you, when you've got 30-some athletes on the course, how do you keep track of people? Are you just on Tracker, just looking at everybody?
On Tracker and on a bicycle going everywhere. So, one thing that we as coaches, we have to be is very much fair.
Yes.
And so we can't, the one thing we realize is try and have them really prepared before the race. So know how, and we try and give them tools of how to self-manage, how to problem solve, because we're not allowed to be there influencing the race. And so at the swim start, I'm just standing on the pier watching the swim, and then on the bike, I actually go and follow the live stream now. I used to go out on the course and around the top row, but now we just follow the live stream, keep track, and then on the bike, when they get off the bike and run, we try and just see as much as we can and go through and sort of follow the pro race. And then once the pros are in, go and, good, bad or indifferent, we go and cheer on the amateurs all the way through and until the very last person is in. So it's a long day, but it's a really rewarding day.
How important are the pro athletes in terms of your age group athletes, in terms of the fact that the age group guys get to rub shoulders with some of the best in the world?
I think it's a culture creator, and I think that I'm the style of coach that I don't think necessarily I'm the right coach for every pro athlete, and I tend to attract a certain type of athlete. And one of the things that we try and create is look, ego is an important part of sports, but it's an ego-friendly environment. So we throw them all in, and the other thing we have in San Francisco, for example, is a whole bunch of CEOs and executives. But we just treat them like everyone else, the same way as we treat the pros, the same way as we do as people that are looking to do their first triathlon. So I think that I've been very lucky as a coach and a leader of this organization that our pros are sources of more inspiration than they are intimidation.
Right.
And they do, the one thing about our pros is they really love to get involved, and they are part of our community. So even Jesse, who lives in Bend, and our athletes around the world, we really try and make them a source of inspiration, a source of education, and learning what's appropriate from the way they go about their sport without trying to emulate them, because age groupers are not pros. Right. And so it's actually, it's for me, it's humbling that it really works well, and it's our age groupers love it. They love it. They get to rub shoulders with some of the best athletes in the world, and that just makes you better. Yeah, it does. It does.
Matt, thanks so much for taking time. Enjoy your day on Saturday. I'm sure your athletes are going to do amazing.
It'll be fun. Thanks so much, Bob.
All
really
right.
appreciate it.
Poncho Man, take us out.
I like my fishing port, cause I'm a big boy. Love me standing, you can call it extra large chili koi. Squeeze the big glue out, don't forget the law. And breakfast with Bob. Oh, yeah.
Poncho Man.